and welcome back to Let's Play Super Mario RPG. Last time, we were forced into labor, got a star that was really easy, and got a mission from a suspicious elder on where to go for the 5th star of 7. One thing I'd like to note before going further into the sea area is that this specific star box is tied to a pretty well-known exploit for power leveling your characters. One interesting thing about Super Mario RPG as a game is that when you die, you are set back to your last save point. Your items and your coins and any events that you've triggered are set back to what happened before, or rather, what it was at that save point, except for your experience points. Your experience points and levels are retained when you get a game over. So an exploit you can do is send yourself back to the save point through game over, and you'll be able to use that star box again and kill as many of these starfish as possible and get a ton of levels. Getting into a fight here intentionally. Okay, well, I accidentally walked into this guy, but I did want to get into a fight with one of these guys eventually. And we've got a very, very important enemy to keep track of here. These Lucos here. These guys are one of the first enemies you come across that actually have a special property when you hit them with magical attacks, which I actually want to make sure at least one of them is dead before I hit them with anything, because it can be actually pretty nasty to use a magic attack on them. Just trust me on that. Otherwise, these starfish enemies, nothing too fancy here. They can poison you, they can hit you for pretty limp attacks, honestly. They're super vulnerable to Mallow's Thunderbolt spell, well, the few varieties of enemies we can come across at this point that are super vulnerable to magic. But there is a reason I did not use Mallow's magic to start here. So let's get a group hug in to get that poison gotten rid of. And hit this other Luco here with the masher. Get this out. Absolutely want this dead before I have Thunderbolt for what's about to happen. So pay attention to what happens when I use Thunderbolt here. Get the timed hit. Take out those starfish, no problem. Now, Luco will always counter with the Solidify spell if you hit it with a magic attack. Any magic attack, even Mario's jump spell. And as you saw there, that does ridiculous amounts of damage. And if I had used Thunderbolt on both of the Lucos when they were still on the field at the same time, Mario and, honestly, Mallow and Peach at this point, both would have been killed right away. So be very, very careful with that. There are quite a few enemies in this game at this point that will always counter magic with their own nasty magic spells, which is another one of the things that kind of contributes to magic falling off super hard. We should be able to finish this guy off safely with a jump at this point. But yeah, towards the end of the game, magic runs into a serious problem where enemies are either highly resistant to the elements you have, just have really high magic defense in general, and magic doesn't really scale that well, or they have counter spells like the Lucos do. So here is a new underwater mechanic. We can go into these whirlpools and get sent down into the water and walk around on the bottom, and there's a hidden door you can get into where we get a Max Mushroom. Max Mushroom is the best healing item in the game, or rather, a single target healing item. The ultimate version of a mushroom. It fully restores the HP of any character used on. Pales in comparison to the Kara Colas, though, and we will have an option for more reliably getting those. Here we've got Bloopers, not Bloopers, got Mr. Kipper here, and we've got Krusty. Well, let's slap Krusty upside the head. Now, quite a few of these guys, thankfully in sharp contrast to Star Hill, when you're not dealing with stuff like the Lucos, usually Mallow's Thunderbolt can deal pretty good damage to them. I'm going to use Mario's Jump on the Krusty here, since that'll deal pretty good damage to him. Probably take him out, or at the very least make him pretty low. Krusty has pretty good physical defense. This is kind of a last hurrah for places where you can put magic besides jump to serious damaging effect, like hit all of those enemies for... Oh, come on, Peach. Yeah, that's an unfortunate thing about physical attacks. Sometimes they can just whiff. The nice thing about magic is that it never misses. Yeah, I was way too late on the guard there. I was hoping I could get a perfect guard and undo some of the damage. As you can see, a lot of the stuff here hits pretty hard. This is definitely one of the big difficulty spike portions of the game. Not only are the general enemies you're going to be up against a lot more threatening, the bosses themselves become a lot more threatening and actually require a bit more care when approaching them, which is probably part of the reason or part of the reason why that is the case is probably because we do have Toadstool at this point, and she is such an effective healer that if the enemies didn't seriously step up their damage, we wouldn't be threatened by them at all. Now, if you can get into this plunger-like pipe at the top of that mast there, we'll find ourselves in a sunken ship area. There's a page from the travelogue. Oh, let's take a look at it. Come on, don't be judgmental like that, Mario. We're done for. A giant squid just got a hold of us. This ship's going down fast. Looks like crew did not have a particularly good time traveling through the sea area. There's a page from the travelogue. We've managed to trap the giant squid in the treasure cellar. The treasure will sink with the ship, but so it goes. Sad. It was a bitter ending for all. Although I guess they got away with their lives? Not quite sure, honestly. Let's take more looks at the travelogue. The door to the cellar is locked with a password consisting of 6 letters. In order to proceed, you'll have to decipher the password using the 6 hints. Or you could be like me and just know what the password is. Anyway, here we've got new undead-type enemies. These are the Greepers, I believe, and I forget what the center guy is called. Unfortunately, one problem that I have to deal with without having Geno in my party is that a lot of these enemies are actually quite fast. So let me see. The guy in the back is Reacher. He's a more magic-focused enemies. A lot of the enemies in here flip it up on us compared to the sea enemies. A lot of these guys are more vulnerable to physical attacks. So you want to do that. We'll just take these guys out one at a time. There are some enemies, though, that are more vulnerable to magic. It is a bit of trial and error just figuring out, and including one enemy that, very unusually, you can only kill with magic, which we'll cover him when we get to him. The Reacher in the back is pretty vulnerable to jump attacks. At the very least, they do pretty good damage. Also, as you saw there, I got a very low roll on the masher there, so sometimes that's just something you have to deal with. Ooh, yeesh, that was a spicy hit. I forgot how hard that hits. Luckily, we have pick-me-ups in reserve. I'm not concerned about saving a bunch of those for the boss fights, so I'm not overly worried about using them along the way. It hasn't really come up at this point, since we haven't really had to make this, not until the previous video, but when you finish battles in Super Mario RPG, wow, that guy actually is really vulnerable to magic. Should have done that to start. Let's see, double my coins? Well, less to lose there, but it doesn't come up too much, but if you end a battle with characters dead, I said, well, at least I avoided the wrong. If you end a battle with characters dead, if I can finish my thought here, they will revive at the end of the battle with 1 HP, and they still get experience, which is really nice. Oh, actually, new enemy here, reskin of, what was those guys? Were they hobgoblins? Well, we'll take a look at this guy's name and see if it's a Strawhead. Okay, well, we can probably guess what he does to us there with, his, I just completely blanked there. His magic. Okay, so jump is a little bit more consistent. Let's see how Thunderbolt does on the Greeper. I'm pretty sure it's pretty resistant to it, but as long as it does good damage to the Reacher, that's fine by me. Oh wow, okay, never mind. I don't know why, but this is kind of a problem with only doing one test run in the game. Sometimes your memories just start to conflate with the areas. Let's see, we'll use a jump on the Strawhead here. This should take him out. Peach's timed hits for healing spells are just as, like, the little sparkles on your party members are starting to go away. You hit the button and you'll get the timed hit for it. Alright, hopefully we can get a level up here. Enemies start giving a lot more experience at this point. It's a good idea to start fighting as many of them as possible to reap the benefits here. Mario got a new attack, Super Flame, just an upgraded version of Fire Orb, has a higher base power. Nearly identical action command. You know, you mash the button, and I think it's like just once every 7 frames. Or it might be a little bit, it might wreck it or register more inputs than the basic Fire Orb. Mallow has learned Shocker. This is his next upgrade spell. It's single target only, but it has about I think its power is 60. It's considerably more powerful than a Thunderbolt and gives him a pretty good single target option for deleting targets. Let me just look at my stuff here. Did I put the Zoom Shoes on Peach? Oh, I could have sworn I put the Zoom Shoes. I must have, oh, you know what? I bet I just completely equipped the wrong thing. Well, I want to put them on Mallow anyway, so hopefully he'll be able to go before things. Now, here is the enemy I was talking about where you can only kill them with magic, and it's convenient that I have Mallow going first now. Dry Bones, you can hit them with physical attacks as much as you want, but as soon as you hit them with magic, they just fold immediately. Also uniquely is that they collapse and will get back up after a certain amount of time. It's a page from Travelogue. Uncover the secret of the 6 hints. Of course, since they're provided by different people, they'll be pretty tough to solve. Maybe impossible. Not that tough, don't worry. Let's use a flower tab here. I know there's a free recovery coming up, but I do have to get into a... well, don't necessarily have to, but there is going to be a fight along the way, more than likely. Some new rat-type enemies here. Pretty much identical to the previous ones. They just do poison-type damage on you more often than not. The guys in the back, I didn't catch their name. I actually forget what these guys do. Gorgon. There are quite a few enemies where the experience just isn't there for fighting them, so sometimes I have a tendency to avoid them. Oh, hey, once again, can slap this guy's head up. So I'm often a little unfamiliar on what they can do. Oh, wow. Alright, once again. Yeah, sometimes you just get chains of those once again flowers and you get the same character going over and over and over again. And I appreciate it when it's a stronger character like Bowser or Geno. Fortunately, these guys are plenty vulnerable to jump here. I actually want to draw attention to the spell Diamond Saw here. That looks like it's an ice-type spell, but it is actually non-elemental. There are certain spells that look like they're a specific element, but they're actually non-elemental, and this will come up once we get out of this area. There's a very famously nasty spell that seems like it might help to have something that gives you resistance to elemental spells, which you will have by the time you deal with it, but it's actually non-elemental. Here we got a chest with some coins here. This area is likely going to be the first time you actually max out your coin counter, because you get a lot of coins, both from the enemies you fight and some treasures. Alright, so we've got a line of rooms here with a Greeper guarding each one of them. Now, you can fight the Greeper to get out of the way, but you can also just sneak under it. And we've got puzzles to solve. Let me see here. I completely forget. Oh, okay, so we gotta leave the room again. I was just like, what do I do here? Okay, so this Paracupa will follow us. What we want to do is steer him into the cannonball, make him hit that button there, and we'll get our first hint. Memo left by Magellan. There is an S in the word. Okay, we'll have to figure out where the S is placed. Now I'm going to fight the Greepers for the experience, because it's going to be desirable to have the levels by the end of this area, so... oh, it's only one of them. I was going to cut this fight out, but we may as well just... oh, I missed an opportunity to use Shocker there. It's okay, we'll have plenty of chances to use it. Give this guy a quick slap and get more jump power going. It's gonna be a while before we have fully powered jump. I haven't been tracking how many times I use it, but we've got plenty of opportunities, so let me get these guys out of the way. One thing to note about the Greepers is that they can drop Pure Waters, which are, as always, good for selling, but not terrible to use at this point. Alright, so this one, we have to hit these blocks to stop the trampolines, and get them into a position where they can bounce a cannonball along to hit that switch. So let me see, that might be a little too far away from the center. Yeah, this probably isn't going to make it. Nope. Okay, so a little bit too far off. Fortunately, this one just resets as you fail. We want to now get this closer to the center there. That should be good. And put this one a little bit like there. And this one, we want it to be like close to the center. Nope. Okay, never mind. So this one... right there. This one also right here. But this one, we want it to be a little bit further back. There we go. Yeah, just a little bit of trial and error. We get a flower for efforts. Now, I already know the password, so it's not critical to do these, but you do get rewards like the recovery mushroom and the flower, so may as well check it out just to see those. Let's see, memo left by Magellan. It is found on the bed of the ocean. Not a super helpful hint. There's a lot of stuff found on the bed of the ocean, but if we can combine it with the lingual clues that we get, perhaps we can figure something out. Now, here's by far the dumbest challenge present here, a three-dimensional maze. So, you have to just jump up and down and blindly make your way through this maze. This is a traditional isometric game, so we have no control over the camera. So typically in 3D mazes, you're able to rotate the camera around and see where the heck you're going, and you just have to make minute adjustments like that in order to eventually figure it out. Not so in this one, where it really is just blind stumbling. I'm honestly just probably going to cut ahead to when I actually make it out of this one, because it is ridiculously hard to find your way. Now, obviously, as a viewer, there is no feedback for you on where the heck I even am. So, I'm just gonna cut to when I get out of this. It's really annoying. Okay, after a couple minutes of blind fumbling, essentially you just have to jump along the walls and nudge yourself forward until eventually you feel like you're getting out. What's this memo left by Dagama? It has 2 vowels. That's a decent hint. If you are truly lost, you can press the X button to reset yourself back to the entrance. Heading into this area, we've got another shaman here. Actually, that text implies it's the same one from the start. And they're just selling more items. Let's buy a pick-me-up to replace the one I used. How many of those do I have? Actually, I'm gonna buy a couple of those. Any junk that I can sell to, let's get rid of this pure water. I'm running out of inventory space. Oh, I got all these honey syrups. We don't need these at all. Actually, I do want to hang on to those mushrooms for something silly later on. That should give us enough empty slots in our items. I'll give you a hint. The password has got something to do with the sea. Even if you don't get through all 6 of the obstacles, you can try to deduce your way through. Good luck! Also, we already basically got a hint that was just that. So we've got a tight space here with a dry bones walking back and forth, and we just have to kill him towards the start of it. Oh, geez. Yeah, this is one of the nastier enemy formations you can come across. But fortunately, because we got the zoom shoes on Mallow, I actually do want to show this one off, just because this one can be pretty threatening. Since we have the zoom shoes on Mallow, he can go first and take out the dry bones and do heavy damage to the Reacher, so hopefully we can get him out of the picture before he gets a chance to toss a bone at us. So deal that right there. Good stuff, good stuff. Hopefully Toadstool can slap this guy hard enough to finish him off. Ah, just barely not enough. Let me see here. Yeah, the Reacher's more threatening. Honestly, if I had known Toadstool would have failed to kill that thing, I would have had her just use Group Hug and get ourselves into a safer position against the Creepers. Fortunately, they're using some of their weaker spells here. Now, this area, as far as your progression in the game, I keep forgetting to show off Shocker, but it's just more of a meant to be as a boss fighting spell, honestly. This game represents a... Oh, geez, that was terrible. Is that gonna kill? No, it's just the fear status. You know what? What the heck? Let's just show off Shocker here. This one's a little tricky to time. You have to hit the Y button just before it strikes, and you'll get the timed hit. And it is, unlike Thunderbolt, there is actually a perfect timing component to it. If you time it better, it'll deal more damage. The best timing for it is to hit it just after you're to the thunder, but before it strikes. Alright, let me take out this dry bones again. If you're really precise, as I was saying, if you're really precise, it is actually possible to empty out that coin chest before the dry bones gets back up and get out without fighting it a second time, but it's tricky to do. Now, as I was saying, this area actually represents a pretty important point in getting some really valuable equipment that makes the rest of the game a bit easier. I'm going to take out the rest of these Creepers, so hold on just a moment. That's all those guys taken care of. One thing I didn't get a chance to mention is that Toadstool has hit level 11 and has learned a new spell, Sleepy Time. This will put one enemy to sleep, or multiple if you do the action command well. Honestly, this game runs pretty afoul into the thing where most of the time status ailments aren't really worth it. It's just easier to kill enemies outright. This is a bit of an interesting... I don't want to call it a platforming puzzle, but a sort of weird chase puzzle. You cannot... Oh, I screwed it up. You cannot grab the coin that is trailing all of these first. If you do, it will end the trail, and you won't be able to solve the puzzle. You have to follow this and collect each coin that it spawns. So there are a couple of tricky jumps along the way, and they're mostly just tricky because of the isometric perspective rather than they're overly difficult. This is usually the point where you're liable to screw up. Once you get all the coins... You get a nice boost to your money. Yeah, we're definitely going to cap our coin count by the end here. Memo left by Dagama. 4 consonants. This would have been a terrible hint to me as a kid, because I'd have no idea what a consonant was. They're all about teaching the vowels in my kindergarten English classes, but never the consonants. Just not represented well. Okay, let me see here. Okay, I know this one. I was just like, what the heck is this again? So we have to leave the room to reset the block, because it's annoying like that. And then when these cannonballs come out, we have to... We have to jump up and hit them into the blocks they fall under. And if I could stop screwing up... Alright, gotta focus. Remember, hit it as it's going under. There we go. Just line yourself up with the shadow and jump when it's heading over, and you got it. A mushroom? Terrible reward. How could you do this to me, game? Memo left by Van Doren. At least 2 consonants are side by side. Alright. Alright, and what are our last hints here? So, oh, yes, I'm remembering this now. Just gotta knock this barrel down, and just jump a bit on it. Gotta do it from Mario facing the camera to get it to roll the right way. Put it onto this switch right here, hit this one, get another recovery mushroom, and the final hint. Memo left by Van Doren. The R comes before the L. And we've got... Once you've come up with the key and the letter, speak in here. Alright, so... We've got 6 blocks here, and we can enter a letter, and when we enter the correct word, we will get the password. Now, I already know what the solution is. The solution is pearls. Granted, you could probably trial and error this one, since with the letters that you're given, you would only have limited opportunity to make legitimate words with these, especially with a very limited selection. So I think I'm entering all the right one. Yes, there we go. Oh man, how did I do that? Clearly, I'm not paying too much attention. Whoops. Sorry about that. Yeah, that was embarrassing. I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. Good job. I'll let you through if you can get past me first. Get past me first, that is. Ugh. Anyways, that tentacle indicates to us that there is probably a slimy squid waiting for us on the other side. Gonna switch up the party a little bit. I'm gonna bring in Bowser instead of Mallow, since this guy's not terribly vulnerable to what Mallow could bring out. It is tempting to bring in Geno to use Geno Boost, but it's not that big a deal, and we shouldn't have to worry too much about the damage. I really do want Toadstool in the party for one of the things that this boss can do. Plus, it gives us a chance to show off Bowser's Hurley Glove. As you can see, this guy throws out some pretty decently powerful... Oh, I forgot to equip the Hurley Glove. How could I? Oh, well, it's not a huge deal. That is something that I'm going to have to rectify before we get done with this area. Now, we just want to take these guys out one at a time. They're not anything too threatening. Would you please hit Bowser instead? Eesh, Mario's defense is awful. He's getting hit harder than Toadstool is. Fortunately, these tentacles are relatively vulnerable to jumps, and by having Toadstool just cast Group Hug over and over again, we shouldn't have too much to worry. Now, when your characters get sent off screen like that, that's when this fight gets relatively annoying. As you can probably imagine, this of course takes them out of the battle for a little bit, and then when they come back, they are inflicted with the Fear status. Now, this Fear status has a pretty infamous property to it. It actually bypasses the fear protection equipment, so it is a completely guaranteed source of fear. You cannot block it at all. Your only option is to cure it, which is why Toadstool is so important to have in your party for this fight. Honestly, with how bad I'm doing on this, I probably should have brought Geno instead of Bowser. If I had remembered to equip the Hurley Gloves, Bowser would be doing a lot better here, and this fight would be a lot funnier. Oh well, how it goes sometimes. Now, we're not done with just that set of tentacles. You didn't think it was that easy, did you? Got 3 more to get through. Fortunately, aside from the fear status infliction, these guys are not anything too terrible. Yeah, please focus on Bowser. He has the defense to tank for days. And he has the work pants to put in the work. I feel like these guys get a little bit more defense the deeper you go into the fight. Like that, I wasn't timing that any worse than I was in the previous section, but that still did a lot less damage from Bowser there. Bowser is hit with the fear status now. Immediately brought back in. Oh, I actually am kind of annoyed by that. If I had realized that he was coming back in the same turn he got sent up, I could have had Toadstool cure the fear status. Oh well. But yeah, fear status is so annoying when it comes into play because it greatly slows down fights when you're dealing half the amount of damage you would normally be doing. And because the able juices that can cure it outside of Toadstool's healing spells are just or not, what am I trying to say here? They're single targets, so they're just so much less effective. Getting ahead of myself when describing mechanics. Anyways, now the end of the fight is in sight. We got King Calamari himself here. He doesn't do anything too interesting, so I'm not really going to comment on it. We're just going to focus on getting these tentacles out of the way first to limit his physical damage, and then we'll be able to work on the main body here. I believe if you go straight for the body, you can kill these tentacles by proxy. They'll just immediately be eliminated. But let's just focus on getting the damage this guy can do to us mitigated, which is pretty sizable. One thing to note about Therapy, it is a fair deal stronger than Group Hug when you hit the timing. Its timing is also a little bit trickier than Group Hug, weirdly enough. So when you only have one character to heal and they're on death's door like that, it's a better idea to just use therapy. When you're trying to cure ailments, though, and get some additional healing in, Group Hug is just so amazing. I'm going to try and avoid using Toadstool in the situations where I don't feel like she's absolutely necessary. In this fight, with how much of a factor ailments are, I do feel like she's kind of intended to be brought along here. But there are plenty of times where she's just generally useful, and I'll use a different character to try and keep things interesting. Ooh, Sandstorm. This one's nasty because it inflicts fear on everybody. Now, unlike the Tentacle attack, you actually can avoid being inflicted with fear with the proper status protection equipment. But you're not really liable to have that for everyone. Jumps should deal pretty good damage to this guy. If I recall correctly, he is resistant to fire. I do remember trying that. The drain line of spells is so funny. These attacks have no draining property whatsoever, but I'm not sure why they're called that, but every time you see an attack that has drain in the name, more often than not, it's Fire Elemental. I'm actually not sure if the Drain Beam is Fire Elemental, but the Drain Spell and Mega Drain are. Surprised at how hard those Ink Blasts hit. And surprised at my luck to occasionally dodge those. I say that like I have any control over it. I'm not really sure how the accuracy of things works in this game, if everything just has like a set accuracy stat, except for magic, of course, which just always hits. Oh, I actually should have healed Toadstool there. Well, it's not the end of the world if I have to use a pick-me-up on her. Alright, this guy should be winding down soon. Still got a little bit more in the tank, huh? Bowser is not threatened by that. Okay, let's not play too risky here. Not that it really matters. This guy, aside from Drain Beam and Sandstorm, which is horribly weak, he only has single target stuff. There we go. Definitely could have done that fight better. Definitely would have helped if I had actually remembered to equip Bowser's Hurley Gloves. Good amount of coins for defeating that guy. Not that it really matters, since I believe we're at the cap at this point. Only 30 off, only 30 off. Okay, 36, but, you know, who's counting besides the really obsessive people? I'm not trying to call anyone out here. I'm not trying to call anyone out. Anyway, let's get into the next leg of the Sunken Ship. We'll be ending this video soon. This is actually one of the longer dungeons in the game. As you can see, there is a bottom area there that if you get hit by these bullet bills, you'll be knocked down into it. You can fight these rats if you want to, but they're not it's really not worth the time to do so. Heading into this area here. Just wanted to come into the fight real quick to show off the Hurley Gloves. As you can see, Bowser just takes an opportunity to toss Mario. I'm sure he's always wanted to do that. Alright, let's get back out of this. Apologies for any time in these videos where I completely lose my train of thought. I just have so many things that I want to talk about, and I usually lose track of them, and then when I do have the free time to talk about them, I've forgotten about them. A really terrible tragedy. Anyways, over here, we've got some treasure boxes. These just have coins in them. We're already at the coin cap, so there's no real reason to collect any more of those. Here's a bit of a weird room, so head to the center here to hit this invisible block here, and now we have to maneuver it so that our clone is right around here, and yes, there we go. Get a Caracola for our efforts. For some reason, a lot of the guides online mistakenly say that there is a flower in that chest. Alright, so here's a room that's a little sneakily hidden, but not too hidden either. Get a frog coin there. Can I get over this guy? Yes! Haha! I'm a platforming master. Alright, so before we get into hitting this chest, I absolutely want to put Geno in my party real quick, so let's just get him back to the front. Let me see, he is, Mario has had his speed reduced, right? Yeah. I just want him to be faster than Mario for what's about to happen, because we've got... Oh, nope, wrong chest. What we've got over here is a Mimic chest. It's weird, I could have sworn, the first one was a troll, and that was the Mimic chest. So, let's get Geno boost on Mario. Absolutely want to bring up his offense and defense here, because we've got, what's the name of this new guy? The Hidden. The Hidden. Funny. Anyways, this guy can be pretty nasty. The Mimic chests in this game hit ridiculously hard. Also, they're fairly vulnerable to jump attacks, so those are a pretty good option for dealing with them. I don't know if they have innate immunity to it, though, if you need the jump shoes to hit them. Not that Mario really has a better dedicated accessory than the jump shoes at this point, just something to consider. Now, in the previous fight with the Dry Bones, Gino had actually gotten a level up, and he learned a new skill, one of his most famous skills in the game. As you can see, these little Goombites, what are they called? Goombets. They hit quite hard, so this fight can spiral out really quickly if you don't take out the hit on immediately. We got Gino Whirl. This one, if you time it right, you get 9,999 damage guaranteed. Now, by and large, bosses are immune to this timed hit. It's the only time in the game where a timed hit just gets flatly disabled and it won't work at all. But against normal enemies, including some boss type or mini boss type enemies, this works perfectly fine, and it's a free kill on most anything in the game. So there's some pretty dangerous stuff that you can just completely eliminate with Gino Whirl if you get the timing down. And as you can see, it's not too terribly difficult. Now, the reason I want to kill this chest before the video ended, it's a sizable bit of money, too bad we're at the cap, it's because we get the safety badge, and this is a pretty cool item that we just got. I'm gonna put it on Toadstool right now. The safety badge, if you look at its description, prevents mutant poison attacks. This is a fantastic example of technically true but entirely misleading. What the safety badge does is it gives you immunity to all status ailments. It is flatly superior to all of these pins that we have, and it has better defensive stats. It's pretty good, but we're also going to get a flat upgrade to it a few rooms from now, actually. But we'll get into that in the next video. This is where we're going to call it for this one. Quite a bit happened in this video. This is a very long area, and we're going to have a absolute boss bonanza coming up in the next video, so look forward to that. As always, I hope you enjoyed watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Until then, though, goodbye.